everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're solving LeetCode 20, valid parentheses. This is the first perfect problem if you want to truly understand the stack pattern. My goal today is not just to show you code that passes, but it is to teach you how to recognize this pattern in the future problems and how to systematically break down matching older problems. So let's start by reading the problem exactly as it appears on LeetCode, so you get comfortable reading the official description. We have here given a string S containing just the characters, these type of brackets. Determine if the input string is valid. And here they will give us the description of valid. An input string is valid if the first rule is open brackets must be closed by the same type of brackets. Open brackets must be closed in the correct order. Every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. The key sentence that jumps out at me is in the correct order. That phrase immediately tells me we're dealing with matching the most recent opened item, which screams stack, last in, first out. So let's check together the examples. Example 1 is just a simple matching pair, so it just gives us true. Here we have multiple different types. They are all probably closed. For example 3 here, we can see it's a wrong type. For example 4, this is correctly nested, 2 opened and 2 closed of the same type. And the example 5, this one is the most important. Even though the count of the brackets is correct, the order is wrong. We open the parentheses first, then a square bracket, but when we started closing, we mismatched it. So this is where the most beginners fail. They count the bracket instead of tracking the order. The way I solve the problem like this is by asking what data structure naturally handles last opened, first closed. The answer is simply stack. Quickly on the constraints, the string length is between 1 and 10,000 and S contains of parentheses only. So no edge cases with empty strings, no weird letters to handle, this is clean. Whenever you receive words like matching, the most recent, correct order, nested properly, or real world examples like HTML tags, undo features, or browser history, now let's think about how to solve this. Before writing any code, I want you to remember the key insight we just saw. The last bracket we open must be the first we close. Say it with me, last in, first out. Now, if you're studying data structures, that phase should be ring bell because that's the exact definition of a stack. A stack is a data structure where the last element you put in is the first one you take out. Like a stack of plates, for example. You put plates on the top, you take plates from the top. So, whenever a problem talks about matching the most recent open thing, your brain should immediately scream, this is a stack problem. And this isn't just for brackets. The same pattern shows up in HTML tag validator, in the features in text editors, browser back button, functions, call stacks. All of these use the exact same idea, so mastering this problem really means mastering a pattern you will see again and again. Before writing any code, let's visualize this step by step. Here you can see the characters. At the left, you can see the stack, and on the right is the brand new pop and compare panel. This panel is only activated on closing brackets. Let's start with a valid nested example. So we see here the open bracket. So we just push it on the stack. Now the stack has this element on the top. Next phase, we will have this character here also appended to the stack. Before I click, I want you to guess what will happen now. Okay, so since this character is closing bracket, We will pop from the stack the most recent opening one, and we will be comparing it with the opening bracket we need to see. So here we have a match. So we continue. We go to the next. Now I think you know what will happen. I hope you guessed that right. We pop the last element on the stack and we compare it with the current character, and we see if the expected from the pairs is a match or not. And in our case here, the pop is accepted, so we continue. And the result is true because we're done with treating all the characters in the input. Let's go to the next example. Same way, we had this open parenthesis, we just appended to the stock, same case with here, and when we click next here, we will pop the last element from the stack, which is this one, and compare it to the current character. The expected pair doesn't match the open bracket, so here we have a mismatch, so we return a false. In the last case we have here, with the same way, it is an opening parenthesis, so we just append it. And when we find a closing bracket, we will just pop the last element from the stack and compare it. In our case, it is a mismatch, so we just return a false. All right, now let's write the actual code. Here, first class and the method signature that is given by LeetCode. Now inside, step 1, create an empty stack. In Python, a list works perfectly as a stack, so we just have to name it like this. Step 2 is to create the pair map, closing bracket map to the opening bracket. We will name it here pairs. And yeah, we type just a couple we do have, each one map it to the right one. Note the direction. Closing goes to opening. I do this way because when I see a closing bracket, I want to instantly know what opening bracket does match it. Now for the step 3, we will go for each character in S. We have to ask ourselves a question here. If the character in the pair dot value, okay, the dictionaries that we just created, if the character is one of these, okay, so what should we do? We do just stack dot append the character. Else, if it's closing bracket, what should we do at first? Before doing anything, we have to treat if the stock is empty. If it's not stock, we should return false. Otherwise, pop the top, and we will compare it to the expected openings. So, if the pairs of the current character is not the last, we should return false. And this line is critical. Beginners forget it all the time. At the end, we must check that the stack is empty. It has to be empty. If the stack is not empty, it means some brackets were opened and they did not get closed, so we could not return true. Let me test this. Okay, we're having some issues. Oh, I miswrote this. That's cool. So let's just submit. Cool. For example, let's try to optimize this. And yep, we're beating 74%. So let's make a quick word here about the complexity of this problem. We visit each character of the string here one time, exactly one time, as you can see here through this loop. So the time complexity is big O of n. And in the worst case, like a string of only opening brackets, like for example, this character, as you can see here, not this one, yeah, this one. In worst cases, our example would be like this. So we end up pushing every character into our stock. So the space complexity here is also big O of n. Simple, clean, and optimal. Before I let it go, for mistakes I see all the time on this problem, the mistake number one is forgetting to check if the stock is empty or not before popping here. If you pop from an empty stack in Python, you get an error. Always, you have to check this first. Keep this always in mind. You will need it. Mistake number two is trying to solve this by counting the brackets. So it's just counting opening and closing is not enough. You have to remember the example. This word is really the key here. They mentioned the correct order words. Even though the example here showed they have the same count, but the order here made it go wrong. And the mistake number three is forgetting the final check. After the loop, you must verify that the stock is still empty. For example, you can still get open brackets, but they did not get closed. This would wrongly return true. Mistake number four is mapping the wrong direction. Some people map opening to closing, then have to do extra work. Mapping closing to opening makes the code cleaner because you look up what you're reading. And yes, that's it. You just solve with valid parentheses, and more importantly, you'll learn the stack pattern. Next time you see a problem that talks about matching the most recent opening thing, brackets, tags into operations, you will know exactly what to reach for. In the next video, we will apply the same stack thing to a slightly harder problem, so the pattern locks in. If this helped you, hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment if you would like me to cover a specific problem next. And thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.